But we begin India first by talking about a mega boost to India's air power. We'll talk about the Apache helicopters and the Chinooks. More than 2 years after the deal was signed, US defense major Boeing has completed the inaugural flight of multi-role attack helicopter Apache and a heavy troop transport helicopter Chinook. Both are set to be delivered to the Indian Air Force. The delivery begins next year. The first flight of the Hepters took place at Arizona in the United States of America. India is procuring 22 of the AH-64E Apache attack helicopters and 15 of CH-47F Chinook heavy lift helicopters from the United States of America. Now, this mega defense deal was worth $2.5 billion. It got the cabinet's approval in September 2015. Now, the good news story is that there is a Make in India part to both these acquisitions. The fuselage of the Army order of the Apaches is being produced by Tata Boeing Aerospace Limited, a joint venture between Boeing and Tata Systems in Hyderabad. The Apache attack helicopters are fitted with air-to-air missiles. Apache helicopters are capable of detecting more than 250 moving targets simultaneously and engaging multiple targets air-to-air and air-to-ground. The Apache, that Hepter that you see on your television screen right now, a twin-rotor Chinook, and that's the Apache that's on your television screen right now. It's a twin-engine helicopter flown by 2 pilots and has an array of very modern electronics. It has absolutely outstanding electronics. It's considered one of the most potent weapon platforms of our times for close air support for an armored assault. That's the Apache on your television screen. Let me now show you the Chinook helicopter, and we'll talk about the Chinooks. These are vertical lift twin rotor helicopters. There you see the Chinook. It's a very unique helicopter. It's been extensively tested in combat. I've seen these helicopters operate in Sierra Leone in the year 2000. They are very, very versatile. They can be used for troop movement, artillery, heavy artillery movement, heavy equipment movement, also for disaster relief. They can virtually land just on their rear end. Just a bit needs to be put on ground and you can move men and material. I want to now quickly cut across to our consulting editor Shiv Arur, and Shiv tracks defense very, very closely. Shiv, the capabilities of the Apache helicopters, will they be a game changer as far as the Indian Air Force is concerned, and especially as far as our armored assault along the western and eastern borders is concerned?
Well, the Apache is probably one of the most well-recognized, most iconic helicopters ever built. The AH-64E Apache, built by Boeing in Mesa, Arizona, took off on its first flight. The deliveries of these 22 helicopters begin in March next year. We understand, Gaurav, that the Apaches will be deployed. The squadron will be based in, the flight will be based in Pathankot, near the Pakistan border, and they will operate between both Pathankot and a base, probably Jorhat in Assam. So we're going to have Apaches deployed in both of these very, very sensitive sectors. This is a brutally armed helicopter that is capable of a great deal of destruction. It carries air-to-ground precision strike missiles. It carries air-to-air missiles. It carries it can deploy rockets. It can deploy other kinds of precision-guided munitions. Many of these helicopters will sport the very famous and highly capable long-bore fire control radar system that's also American. It's a highly exclusive and classified system used by the US military, which has been allowed to be exported to India, and the US only exports it to its very close allies. So these are game-changing technologies. India currently has old Russian Mi-25 and Mi-28 attack helicopters, but it has felt the need to have a special close air support helicopter fleet that deploys very modern technologies that are not just capable of deploying destructive weapons, but are also highly survivable in contested airspace. So these Apaches are going to be something that the Air Force wants a great deal. The Indian Army will also be getting some.
Absolutely. So they're not restricted just to these 22 Apaches that are coming in. Shiv, as far as the very versatile Chinooks are concerned, not just for our special forces operations, but also for movement of men and material in combat and also in disaster relief. So they have a multiple role, the Chinooks that are coming in.
The Chinook is going to be an absolute game changer, Gaurav. These are helicopters that the US primarily and quite a few other forces, allies of the United States have deployed for many years. And these are helicopters that have acquitted themselves marvelously, not just in conflict situations, for troop delivery and special missions, even as gunships, but also especially during, relief and rescue operations, flood rescue missions, flood relief, disaster relief operations where, access to areas has been very difficult. This is a highly flexible helicopter. It's that, very recognizable twin rotor system, unlike, most other helicopters in the world. It's capable of operating at high altitude, which was one of the requirements by the Indian Air Force and the Indian government. Capable of carrying a lot of troops very quickly, very fast, and into areas which don't have fully prepared, landing helipads of any kind. It can land with just its rear ramp, for instance, on a hillside or on a peak. So in many ways, for evacuation, for insertion, rapid transport and logistics, it replaces the Mi-26, which is a Russian helicopter in Indian service, which is the largest helicopter in the world, but not as flexible, not even close as flexible as the Chinook.
Shiv, keep tracking the story. I will come back to you for more. For the moment, Shiv Arur, many thanks. I now want to shift focus to the big political dogfight over a fighter jet, the Rafale. Now, the Congress party upped the ante today. The Congress party chief spokesperson Randeep Singh Surjewala attacked Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, accusing the Narendra Modi government of surrendering national interest, of ignoring Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and favouring a private industrial house. The opposition asked the government to come clean on the 60,000 crore rupee Rafale aircraft deal. Our political bureau with this report.
Congress's biggest allegation in the ongoing war over the Rafale deal.
प्रधानमंत्री और रक्षा मंत्री दोनों के सार्वजनिक तौर से बोले गए बार बार झूठ की परतें उधेड़ रही हैं। राफेल डील ने साबित कर दिया है कि कल्चर ऑफ क्रोनी कैपिटलिज्म यानी 3 C's अब मोदी सरकार का डीएनए बन गया है।
And it involves one of India's top businessman, Anil Ambani. The allegation from the Congress is that Ambani's Reliance Defence has benefited from being appointed Offset's partner in the Rafale deal, with those benefits running to the tune of 30,000 crore. As the top dogs of Indian politics battle it out over this aspect of the deal.
रिलायंस डिफेंस लिमिटेड ने 16 फरवरी 2017 को उन्होंने कहा कि उन्हें 30,000 करोड़ रुपए का डिफेंस ऑफसेट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिल गया है।
Union Minister Arun Jaitley had earlier opened fire, clarifying that the choice of Offset's partner is with the Rafale's maker, Dassault, and has nothing to do with the government. However, today, the Congress challenged it by saying the choice has to be vetted by the Defence Minister.
जवाबदेही इस देश के प्रति, इस देश के प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी और इस देश की रक्षा मंत्री आदरणीय निर्मला जी की है।
But things won't be cooling down anytime soon on this front.
The Prime Minister must also explain why this contract was taken away from HAL and the youngsters of Karnataka and given to a businessman who had a debt of 35,000 crores and has never ever built an aeroplane in his life.
The allegation hits hard at the perception that Modi has helped his friends in the industry by handing them lucrative contracts. But let's examine first what the Congress is specifically alleging and whether it holds any water. While the Anil Ambani-owned Reliance Defence is to be the offset's partner in the Rafale deal, the Congress says that the Modi government denied such a partnership with the state-owned HAL. The truth, however, is that Dassault Aviation made the choice as it wasn't keen to work with HAL. Moreover, the Congress has made an erroneous suggestion that the UPA deal involved HAL, since in that case, it was for actual manufacture, not offsets. The bigger sticking point, however, is the suggestion that the Ambani-owned company was favoured over other private firms with actual experience in defence. On this point, no satisfactory explanation has been forthcoming. Reliance has so far stayed silent and away from the exploding controversy, though it seems unlikely that Union Minister Jaitley's defence will dissuade the Congress from continuing its attack on the Ambani and crony capitalism angle. Bureau Report, India Today.
So, we are not indulging in Congress versus BJP politics on the subject, but we want our viewers to know the truth, what's in public domain and what should be in public domain. And I quickly want to bring in Rajiv Dubey, Managing Editor, Business Today. And Rajiv, you've been tracking this story very closely from the business angle. Rahul Srivastava, National Affairs Editor, also with me. Shivaru remains with me on the story. Rajiv, so what's the truth? Congress party says Anil Ambani's Reliance has no experience in manufacturing aircraft.
That's true.
He was favoured, undue favours were shown to him and HAL ignored. So is there merit in this? And apparently Anil Ambani wrote to the Congress party.
Yes, so Anil Ambani in December of 17, which is the letter that we broke, which we got hold of, he has tried to explain to Rahul Gandhi after the attack by Congress and Rahul Gandhi himself on him, saying that on him and his company, saying that they have no experience. He's tried to explain in that letter that he owns the Pipavav shipyard, which is building ships, which is building petrol vessels for Indian Navy, for Indian Coast Guard, and also it is maintaining ships of the US 7th Fleet. And so he has experience of engineering as well as the fact that he has experience of dealing in defense contracts. And so he is eligible for a contract like that. But you know, in what Mr. Surjewala has come out with, there are curious coincidences in the way the companies have been set up, and that is what he's tried to bring out alive. The April 10, 2015 is when the Prime Minister in France announced that we are going to be buying these 36 Rafale in flyaway conditions. 13-14 days before that, on 28th of March, Reliance Defence Company was set up. 14 days after the announcement by the Prime Minister, Reliance Aerostructure was another company that was set up. Now he is trying to bring these as curious coincidences. But let me also say that the example that he gave of HAL not getting the deal, HAL contract with Rafale and with Dassault was for a previous agreement that UPA had signed.
Okay.
That was meant to manufacture the aircraft. So those two are completely different contracts, and everything is getting muddled in this whole discussion because Randeep Surjewala is talking about a contract that UPA signed, for which HAL was contracted by Dassault. This is a contract that Prime Minister of India went and announced, and then Dassault says that they decided on Reliance Group of Anil Ambani.
Okay, we are also getting government sources to respond to this, and there's breaking news that's coming in. So as the face-off between the Congress and the BJP intensifies, government sources have told India Today's Rahul Srivastav that Reliance was not a part of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's entourage when he went to France. The offset contract for Reliance is not an overarching one. The contract includes various components and it's going to various companies. Now, sources are also telling India Today that Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and that's a huge point that's coming from government sources to Rahul Srivastav, that HAL could not meet the standards that were laid out by Rafale, and the government negotiated. This is again the government's defense, that the government negotiated a lower escalation cost compared to the first agreement that had been signed by the UPA government. And I want to bring in Rahul Srivastav for more on this. So Rahul, there are various allegations leveled by the Congress party. The government's defense as far as HAL not getting offsets or HAL not being asked to manufacture the aircraft and all of it going to Reliance or other private companies, as you say?
See, Gaurav, one, the government is saying that the escalation cost was brought down from 5% in the UPA time to 3%. That is a huge thing because from 25th January or something, 2008, the deal was eventually signed much later after 8 odd years. The escalation cost would have been much higher, the cost would have gone up. The second very important point is while it is being that nationalist pride is being drummed up by the Congress and the opposition, top sources in the government, Gaurav, I've spoken to the top people in the government, and they are saying is that HAL actually was in a sorry picture, primarily because of the fact the example which is being quoted is that for nearly 25 years it has been working on the LCA. Till the government of India ordered 20 aircrafts, there was not even a single contract for the LCA available. So much so that the French and the Dassault were not satisfied with HAL because one question interestingly was asked from HAL that how many aircrafts are you producing in a year? The answer from HAL was 6. Now 6 is a terrible number to be created for a company of this size. Now HAL could have, what the government at that time could have done is ramped up HAL, created newer facilities, more modern facilities that somebody like Dassault could have been interested in handing over offset contracts to HAL. The other very important element is, which is being talked about, is that the offset is not just one large overarching thing. There is avionics, which may go to somebody else. There is missiles. There is several other components in the offset. Anil Ambani's company gets one of them. It's not that the entire contract going to him.
So 30,000 crore, as is being alleged by the Congress party, Rajiv, 30,000 crore of the 60,000 crore is not going to Anil Ambani's Reliance.
There are multiple companies Anil Ambani himself has set up. You know, there is a JV with Thales, which is also a Dassault group company.
For example, Thales is a separate company.
Thales is a separate company, which is again a Reliance and Thales JV, which is a Dassault company. There is a Reliance Rafale, which is another company. So these will go to different companies. But you know, one thing is which needs to be pointed out is that Reliance is never going to be making these aircraft. Actually, it's an offset that they will be meeting offset clause, which basically means they'll be making components for the Falcon business jet, which is also a company of the Dassault group. So Reliance is never going to make these aircraft where the question of experience comes in. They're only going to make components which is going to be the offset for the Rafale deal.
Now, all of this that government sources are telling you, Rahul, or they're briefing other friends, why is it that the government isn't saying this openly, either on the floor of the House or have a press conference and clarify?
Gaurav, what I am told is that if the issue comes to the privilege motion which has been moved and the Speaker does admit any one of them, Nirmala Sitharaman, the Defence Minister, is planning to tell it all these elements, barring the secrecy clause elements. Now, there is another interesting element which have been conveyed by the government, is that what the Congress is holding on to is the 670 crore per piece price, along with the 1700 something cost which has been talked about. What the sources are saying that what actually went into the account books of Dassault was actually what they did. They put together the entire cost of the upgrades, which are something close to 19, what they are, I'm being told, along with the aircraft, put together the entire cost, divided it by 36, and that's how the price has been arrived at. So it is not that the aircraft price jumped up, it is that the upgrades, everything woven in, has gone into that final account book of
Also, if you look at it, the aircraft to aircraft, standard aircraft to aircraft, at that time the rupee dollar rate was 49.50. That comes to about $105 million. Today, after beating down the price, it comes to about $92 million. Now, you know, this is 670 crore out becoming 526 crore becoming 670 crore per aircraft is a factor of the rupee dollar rate. It has nothing to do with the, so price to price, you will be buying these aircraft in dollar terms, right? You're not going to be buying it in
this should be discussed in the CAG. All these have to go to the CAG.
Oh, absolutely.
Why not wait? Why make a political football out of it?
That too with national security. The country has suffered once with artillery. Do we want to suffer again with aviation, with fighter aircraft that we can ill afford? But time now for a quick fact check. Now, there were several rumors that were doing the rounds, including some fake news that's circulating on social media, that France is also gifting India 32 Jaguar aircraft as a sweetener in the Rafale deal. But is that the truth? Well, India today conducted a fact check, and this claim, we found that there is no truth in Jaguar aircraft coming to India. The fact check team, my colleague Anand Patel joins us in a moment. It apparently tracked down all of this is speculation, and what is the truth in all of this, Anand? So are 32 aircraft Jaguars coming to India as is being claimed by some, or are we getting some components and are we paying for it?
A lot of information is floating on the social media, given this big debate which is raging on. And this particular piece of information which caught our attention at the India Today fact check team, which was shared by a Facebook page which has 17 lakh followers, Now this information claimed that 32 Jaguars were coming to India as a gift from the French government as part of the Rafale deal. The French government is very happy with the deal, and so they are gifting this. Now this is very interesting because, we ourselves, our Indian Air Force is struggling to keep the Jaguars in flying mode because, because of the lack of spare parts. They're already junked in France. So 2005, France junked it. And so what they're doing is they are sending the spare parts to us so that we can keep our Jaguars flying, That is a big problem for our Indian Air Force because they cannot source it. The Jaguars are not in production anymore.
Yes.
We are unable to find the spare parts for it.
And
so
the Indian Air Force intends to fly the Jaguars for some time now. Absolutely. Jaguars are a deep penetration strike aircraft. So Jaguar parts are being cannibalized from aircraft in France. Now we're getting them free of cost, but we are still paying for the transport of the components to India so that our Jaguars can continue to fly. Well, that is all we have time for. Anand Patel, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. We will continue to track this story very, very closely. If there is a scam, the guilty must be punished. Action must be taken. If not, then good aircraft must come to the Indian Air Force so that our security can be looked after. That is all I have time for. Many thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.